Hi there, welcome to Advent YouTube Live. If you're watching live, it's wonderful to have you along, and I will be starting in 4 minutes. If you're watching on catch up, just scroll through 4 minutes to where I begin. Thank you very much. Is it crumpets or muffins? That's what I want to know. Whatever it is, I hope you've got some. And if not, glass of something warm or cold or fizzy or whatever. It's Friday. It's 5 p.m. It's December the 16th. Can you hear me? Catherine's worried that you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Yes, you can. Thank you. Our technical department's worrying over there. I'll make her come and say hello in a minute. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whether you are in South Africa, Canada, America, Romsey, Stenning, Cranbrook, wherever you are tonight, you are so welcome. This is the final Advent YouTube live of the series. I'm sad to say, who knows where the time goes, as Joni Mitchell sang. Thank you so much for joining me and for creating this magical community. Why don't we just take a breath for a moment, just pause, just be mindful of everybody who is checking in here now, and relax your shoulders, smile, and settle in for just the next few minutes of friendship and togetherness, which is, I think, really marked the the quality of this series. I talked about magic, and I went for a night walk last night, which really was kind of magical as the frost twinkled in my torchlight. We haven't got much snow here. It's just a tiny smattering. I'm kind of looking jealously on at everybody else across the country, but it was nevertheless that the ground was almost hard as iron, and the frost was twinkling. And I noticed a number of different things, including, actually, interestingly, a heightened sense of smell, which John Lewis Temple talks about in his book, which inspired my reflection. Thank you very much, Joe. My friend Joe very, very kindly thought of me when she saw this book and sent it to me. So thank you, Joe. So heightened sense of smell. But what I really loved was just being under the canopy of the stars. It was just so obvious and so all-consuming. And I was really blessed that the sky was graced for a moment with this gorgeous shooting star, which made it all the more magical. Mick in the Netherlands. Hi, Mick. Told me he had been out 2 nights ago when I sent the night walking email out, and it just so happened to coincide with the Geminids meteor shower. I don't know if any of you had noticed. The timing wasn't planned. I'd forgotten that it was the meteor shower, actually, but it was some lovely synchronicity again. And Mick saw 3 shooting stars, a holy trinity indeed. So as we start, it would be lovely to know from you, just like we did last week, what's touched or uplifted your soul this week as you've kept watch, as you've engaged, as you've sort of wandered through this Advent time. We'll come on to the specifics of the actual reflections themselves in a few minutes, but just anything that has captivated you, touched you, a simple blessing, a gift, that you can share. Please pop just a sentence or a phrase in the chat, and if you can't access the chat, just speak it out loud or think it or give thanks for it within. But it would be lovely to see just what's kind of the simple blessings, the moments that have touched you this week, as we start kind of with gratitude and appreciation. Betty, hi. The golden light in the trees in the morning. The light's been amazing, hasn't it? How important it is to be still within this busyness. Trying softer. Yeah, thank you. Stunning winter scenery. A gold crest in the woods. Amazing. Oh, well spotted. They're small birds, aren't they? Bird watching from your window. The birds have been just wonderful to watch, haven't they, with the frost as well. Rereading Mary's Magnificat and reflecting on her response to the birth of Jesus, Beryl. Well played. A robin that came so close. God's heart for us is gentle. Thank you. Sunrises. Sitting in front of my lit Christmas tree in the dark and feeling the softness of dark and light. Beautiful, Coral. Thank you. Beautiful skies over the last couple of days. Listening to the song Dark whilst walking through the dark woods and realizing that local people have strung fairy lights through the trees. That is beautiful. Thank you. Keep those coming. Isn't it wonderful? It just fills you up with kind of appreciation and joy, even though I'm sure, we've all got kind of challenges. Actually, this kind of lights us up, doesn't it? Just giving thanks in this way for the things that touch our soul. The boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse. A gift at last Christmas. I've just reread Wendy. Fantastic. Thank you. Keep those coming. Hi, Scott, in the US, a wet snow that is sticking to all the trees. Amazing, amazing. Something that's really touched me this week has been all the RSVP contributions. Thank you for your loving care with which you've tended to those. I really appreciate it. And I've actually today, I've decided I've drawn 3 out from the RSVP pages, because I really want, one of the wonderful things about this community is that we open space for everyone's creative expression. And it gives us something very, very special, doesn't it? You don't always get it in quite the same way in the usual kind of Christian institutions sometimes, unfortunately, but it's just been so wonderful. So I just actually, all the creativity today flows directly from you. And this first one is from Rachel Reed, and it weaves a number of subtle threads from the series and is called A Prayer for Advent. It is a prayer. It's just captured something, and you might like to close your eyes and just settle in as I read this. A prayer for Advent. Unfinish me, Lord. Lead me from answers to questions, from right to good, from certain to curious. Quiet me, Lord. Lead me from sirens to birdsong, from blaming to grace, from comparing to trust. Gentle me, Lord. Lead me from must-dos to opportunities, from next to now, from hurry to life. Unfilter me, Lord. Lead me from edits to truth, from shallows to depths, from knowing to mystery. Gather me, Lord. Lead me from distraction to presence, from wandering to home, from pieces to whole. Amen. Wonderful writing. Thank you so much, Rachel, and thank you everybody for all you have written and shared and drawn this week. I'm going to light a candle, as we always do. Well done, Karen, making it through the traffic. Fantastic. I'm going to light a candle, and permit me this afternoon to light it for a friend of ours, Ian, who passed away peacefully this week. Ian was the dad of one of our close friends, Tristan, who's part of this community. He held high office in a globally strategic organization for a long time and was, had a very significant role. But to me, reflecting back, he was simply unconditionally welcoming. And that's quite a thing, isn't it? It's not the CV headlines that really matter most in the end, but the fruit we bear in our life in God's grace. So this is for Tris and Libs, Pam and Ian, in great hope of the unconditional welcome he has now received in heaven, and that we all will. And this candle shines too to hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace, whom Ian loved. As the carol goes, born to raise the sons and daughters of earth, born to give us second birth. So perhaps you'd like to pop the name of anyone that you'd either like to remember or to pray for, or just to give thanks for today in the chat while this candle burns. And just pop those names up as I pop this candle up now. Thank you. We remember all these people and lift them before God. Jack, John and Paul, Julian, Joy, Karen, Rosemary, Michael, Jane and Tina, Donald, Matt, Bernie, Rebecca, Tony, Margaret, Dee and Sean, memories of Les. Thank you. Just keep those coming. And the love that flows between us and out to them now. Christmas is a poignant time, isn't it? And so, in particular, we think of those who are really going through loss at this time. And if that is you, then sending you great love. Thank you. I'm going to suggest, as those names continue to rise up there, that we have another go at the hand prayer. We've done this each time through this series. I was going to think about doing something else, but actually there's something about practice, isn't there? About just gently embedding a habit or a ritual, or just going deeper with something. And so I thought we would just stay with this. It's just been a really lovely theme of these YouTube sessions. And I was reading something from a guy I know, Anthony Wilson, who's a poet, who sent a sort of an email around. And he was saying about the fact that he loves to think he's quite a consistent person, prides himself on consistency. But actually, when he thinks about some of the things he says about Christmas, he realizes he's kind of consistently inconsistent. The whole kind of, I love Christmas, I hate Christmas. I don't want anything this year. Wouldn't mind that book. I can't stand Christmas music. I've made you a Christmas music playlist, and this wonderful, glorious inconsistency in us, which is absolutely okay and part of it all. So as we return to our hand prayer, remembering that these hands represent kind of polarities or dualities, seeming opposites that can just be held together in the mystery and a kind of creative tension of God's world. You might just for a moment think about the inconsistencies in your life that are okay because we are human. So I love Christmas. I can't stand Christmas. It's too stressful, that sort of thing. Just holding that out now in your hands and bringing them slowly together, your inconsistencies, into that posture of prayer, and feeling the warmth between your hands as those hands meet. And then just kind of twisting your hands into an embrace. They're one but not the same in that embrace. And then we bring our hands to our heart. And in the words of Philip Roderick, come home to yourself in this moment as you allow the two to be reconciled within you. For all the inconsistencies that we might experience within us this year, we just let those be held. And now let's return again to what I mentioned last week, which was those two wings that we fly with, as Hildegard of Bingham said, the glory and the beauty of life, and the pain and suffering, both of which we need in order to be able to fly, she says. And I know this has resonated with a lot of people again this week from your emails. So just holding those two, the glory and beauty and the pain of the suffering, and bringing them gently together, prayerfully, and feeling the warmth as they meet, and just twisting your hands round into an embrace, and bringing your hands to your heart, and come home to yourself in this moment as you allow the two to be reconciled within you. And finally, something we touched on again this week, perhaps someone, yourself and someone who you're feeling distant from, or you've been distanced from for whatever reason. Just in a prayerful moment, bringing those two together. In God's grace, perhaps an intractable situation it feels, and just feeling the warmth of the meeting again. And the embrace. Bringing that close to your heart now. Come home to yourself in this moment as you allow the two to be reconciled within you. And in those beautiful words of Richard Rohr, just as we do that, rest in the love that loves both you and the other, and loves to transform all into its loving image. Just take a moment of silence now. Relax your shoulders. Give that situation to God. Here's another short poem from the RSVPs from our sometimes resident poet, Sue Hollywell, who, believe it or not, isn't watching today because she's here in Winchester going to the Christmas market. So, Sue, when you're watching again, thank you on behalf of the community for all the poems that you've shared on the RSVP over the years that have really infused our series with just a beautiful perspective. This one is about eyes and ears and lips. Eyes and ears and lips. It's called Once. Newborn eyes, the color of the oceans, once saw the sky before the stars were made. Now, searching for the solace of a mother's eyes. Tiny ears, tickled by a prickly straw. Once heard the hidden sound of heaven's song. Now listening to the braying of a donkey. Little lips that whimper without words once spoke first light into the deepest dark, now waiting to be fed in the middle of the night. Wonderful focus on the Christ child. Thank you, Sue. So, as we do in our series, a gentle, brief look back over the week in order to give ourselves the opportunity to remember to catch up and to let any seeds that might have been sown land in the good soil of our heart. You might like to take notes or just close your eyes and just find one connection that really, really resonates for you. So last Saturday was the unfinishable day, wasn't it? That extraordinary blessing from Kate Bowler, which concludes, I am beautiful and somehow delightful, even as I am unfinished. Advent will be unfinished in some respects, won't it? For us, at least. I won't cover everything that I might need to in the series. You won't get everything done on your to-do list necessarily, but here we are, delightful, even as we are all unfinished. And relax. Monday's reflection was about coming to a standstill, inspired by my long wait at the supermarket in my Gillingham hat. I loved Andrew Rumsey's words that the secret of Advent is, if we can turn aside for a moment, is to stand still. And that image of us waiting still for a wild animal, I loved. Opening the space just in case it might come nearer. It seemed to resonate with a lot of people. Let's not rush off again too quickly from that thought that Advent is about standing still, waiting for someone to come. And let's not forget the reminder that December the 25th is not your deadline to hit. It's God's. Tuesday was Try Softer Day, wasn't it? Which seemed to ring lots of Christmas bells with many of you. Most of us try too hard, don't we? And it doesn't mean that we have to stop trying, but we can try in different ways. And what might it mean to try softer, as Andy Colbert talked about? I wonder how you have got on with that. I realized, just one example, I was wobbling away on my kind of recovering leg, standing on one leg during my morning prayers this week. And I realized, having thought about the softness, that I was actually still really quite rigid standing there and wobbling and not, I mean, I'm making progress, but I wasn't making rapid progress, just incremental progress. It was one of those kind of moments. I stopped. I really relaxed my body, relaxed my knees, just relaxed everything. Tried softer, and it was absolutely remarkable. I ended up standing on that leg with my eyes closed for so long that in the end I just put my other leg down. One of those strange things that just worked. So that was one example. I wonder how you're getting on standing on one leg, by the way. Keep it going. Be still and know that I am God, the psalmist says. Rapha. Be slackened and know. Be softened and know that I am God. Be. Wednesday was night walking, wasn't it? Inspired by that little book. And it made me think that if God is revealed in creation, as some of the greats like Thomas Aquinas suggest, then aren't we missing a big part of God if we ignore the night and try to push away the darkness? I wonder if you went for a night walk. I know it's not easy, but maybe you could go with a friend. The RSPB reserve down at Arn in Dorset do night walks for women that coincide with full moons, which is a lovely idea, isn't it? Perhaps there's an organisation that would do that, or perhaps you can do that for someone. Yesterday, we were resting in the love that loves us both, prompted by those lovely words from Sir Ian McKellen about him feeling like he's home when a grown man can call him, the stranger, love. I promise to see you as love and to greet you in my heart with love. and to do my very best to help you feel as if you are somehow home. And today, the boy, the sheep, the ox, and the donkey, the closeness of the animals in the stable evokes for me that sense of them being close with God in every single moment, because they're simply drawing their identity from God in that moment. They're God's creatures. I absolutely love the work of Charlie Mackesy. You probably do too. And if you haven't come across him, then where have you been all this time? Just Google it. But we're all looking forward to his film here on Christmas Eve, which is going out, I think, at 4:00 on BBC One. And if you're not in the country, you'll be able to watch it. If you've got Apple TV, it's being premiered on Christmas Day. Here on the BBC, they've created tiny mini clips called idents, which run between the programs in the evening that they're showing. Idents of the boy, the horse, the mole, the fox. And each time it just really warms my heart. And it will now remind me, as we go through Christmas, seeing those, of this community and of us seeking to draw close to God, like the animals in the stable, and in a childlike way ourselves, and staying filled with wonder as we go. So just let those, as you see them, let them bring you back to that sense of closeness with God. As a result of, just to say, by the way, what a rich week it seems to have ended up being. And I hope that really has made some connections for you as a result of what we have thought about this week. I'd love you just to think for a moment, what will you do? It doesn't have to be some grand commitment, but just if you were to write in the chat now, I will ... I will try softly, or whatever it is. I wonder whether just to help you to think, actually, how can I turn this into action? What might it look like if I act upon what I've really been reflecting on this week? It would be lovely if you'd put in the chat, I will, and then just a word or a phrase, or at most a sentence, as we draw to a close now. I will breathe. Thank you. We'll find time to be still, Sylvia. I will stand still. I will smile more, Wendy. Thank you. I will sit quietly observant. I will wait. I will soften. I will be kinder to myself. Thank you, Janet. We'll try softer. We'll try to embrace dark and find kindness and softness within me to show others. Try softer. I will let Christmas come, Val. I love that. I will pause. I will stand on one leg. I will pray around the compass. Allow the darkness to envelop me and feel comfort. Please just keep those coming. I will see people with love. I will try and be more positive. I will stand and stare on one leg in the morning, watching the sky from my bedroom window. As those come up, shall we, as we have done on every single YouTube live for the last couple of years, say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. If you have 1 minute more, I'd like to end with one final RSVP, which came from Sarah Sansbury, a set of 5 haiku. I've been doing the compass point prayer every morning of the series, and for me personally, it's really helped open up the Advent space and to hold the Advent space And it's become very special. And I think Sarah has distilled the essence of the prayer very succinctly in the form of the haiku. And it takes each of the points of the compass in turn, coming back for the fifth verse to east. So this is the still point of the turning world. And you might even, just for one final act of this Advent series on YouTube, you might want to just stand up and face roughly east to begin with, if you'd like, or if you've got a swivel chair, swivel, or if not, just use your imagination. Here we go. And this really just encompasses us all in this moment, right around the world. I turn to the east, fresh beginning each morning. Jesus, have mercy. I turn to the south, practice standing on one leg, seek balance and poise. I turn to the west, most intimate, not knowing. May your will be done. I turn to the north, pole star, in my inmost being, become my still point. And once more to the east, through the night into dawning, breathe, Maranatha. Just for a moment, let's breathe, Maranatha. Come, Lord. Maranatha. Come, Lord. Maranatha. Come, Lord Jesus. Beautiful distillation. Thank you. Thank you so much for your presence here during this short but sweet series. It just fills my heart with joy and gladness to meet you here on these Fridays. During this particular series as well. Am I allowed to have favorites when it comes to series? In God's grace, I think this has maybe been my favorite yet, but it's not finished, is it? The email series is not finished. I will be back with you tomorrow with the Saturday poem, and the reflections will then run from Monday to Friday next week, but no YouTube. I need some time to do my Christmas shopping because it's running out. No, it will be good to stop well and to create space. And it won't be long till Lent either. Well, it's who knows where the time goes. But in Lent, we will gather back here and we will all be together again, facing in, reaching out, and resting in the love that loves us all. And so may the joy of the angels, the gladness of the shepherds, that's my daughter. Let's start that again. May the joy of the angels and the gladness of the shepherds, the worship of the wise men, and the peace of the Christ child be yours this Christmas. Thank you so much. I'll give my daughter a ring. You get back to those crumpets and please go well. God bless.